Discipline serves as the additional energy from your willpower reserves that compensates for the shortfall. Motivation carries you to a certain point. Most times, that distance is adequate. Occasionally, it falls short. How do you close this divide? You close it through something known as discipline. The reality is that discipline requires effort that everyone possesses the capacity to exert, yet they simply choose not to. Our minds may convince us that oversleeping or skipping the gym is simpler, but ultimately, discipline can be cultivated. The process isn't complicated. However, I believe that regarding internal elements like willpower, habits, and discipline, the invisibility of these qualities and their connection to our identity creates barriers. This perception potentially restricts people's awareness of their ability to expand and elevate these capabilities. We perceive discipline as negative, like being denied unlimited food or unrestricted activities. We view discipline as penalty, yet truthfully, nobody experiences a worse existence than someone lacking self-regulation, boundaries, or structure. What outcomes await you without discipline? Will you achieve optimal physical conditioning without discipline? Will you attain financial prosperity without discipline? If progress in life matters to you, discipline becomes essential. It represents dedication. It constitutes a systematic approach. It was a decision I executed. And my decision centered on determining your sacrificial boundaries. What compromises will you accept to discover your complete human potential? I accepted surrendering everything for that goal. A connection exists between your mental vision and your physical achievement. That connection bears the name discipline. We're discussing the act of persisting and advancing toward objectives despite obstacles, despite postponements, despite diversions, despite critics, despite opposition. This describes someone who endures, who possesses relentless determination to accomplish their mental aspirations. We execute tasks we despise as though we cherish them. That exemplifies discipline's appearance. Understand this. Regarding discipline, 3 elements matter. Implementing these 3 components from the upcoming segment enables you to achieve any life ambition. Therefore, document this. 3 elements. The initial one emphasizes obtaining adequate rest and organizing your day during the previous evening. Discipline becomes impossible when exhaustion prevails and daily planning remains absent. Consequently, my first message stresses getting sufficient sleep and creating a daily strategy. Sleep represents an extraordinarily vital life phase because it restores our capacity for concentration, awareness, and emotional equilibrium during waking hours. Therefore, discussing wakefulness, focus, motivation, mood, and wellness requires acknowledging sleep. Enhancing our daytime activities will facilitate improved nighttime sleep. That's fundamentally crucial. Therefore, quality nighttime rest begins upon morning awakening. Superior sleep quality improves your entire day. Superior sleep quality enhances your life. Unless you're sleeping sufficiently long and profoundly for 80% of your life's nights, your functioning remains below optimal. And what constitutes the primary consequence if we're obtaining inadequate sleep? Learning impairments, immune system deficiencies. Sleep sufficiency is necessary. Now, what defines adequate sleep? Sufficient sleep has been debated as 6 hours. Others suggest 7 hours. Others propose 8 hours. Essentially, it means awakening naturally without alarms and feeling refreshed. Now, the second element I need emphasized is time blocking significance for your day, particularly your morning. Don't overlook this point. It's not concerning endless task lists. It's regarding intentional daily structure. What does your current morning routine entail? My morning routine involves awakening, maximizing natural light exposure during morning hours, whenever that occurs for you, particularly the initial 3 hours post-awakening. I hydrate myself. I consume water and then exert maximum effort avoiding email, avoiding social media, and addressing several critical tasks. Currently, I maintain this fixation with completing one cognitively demanding task daily, one physically challenging task daily. I attempt engaging my brain in a focused linear mode. I attempt narrowing that concentration. Without this, the distraction generated by social media and interpersonal interactions can extend throughout the remaining day. I'm not necessarily attempting task completion during that period, but I attempt something challenging. I derive substantial satisfaction from conquering mentally demanding challenges. Therefore, this represents a self-observation, which indicates that between 6 a.m. and noon, my brain demonstrates exceptional capability. My body demonstrates exceptional capability for executing certain tasks more effortlessly than during other 24-hour cycle periods. Therefore, I classify that as the initial phase of my day. Sometimes I awaken by 6 hours, sometimes 7 hours, sometimes 8, typically approximately 6:30. Therefore, I consider that one opportunity window. The second opportunity window exists because I typically eat lunch around noon between, you understand, 1 and 6 p.m. So our second opportunity window and subsequently the third spans between 6 p.m. and bedtime, which typically occurs at 10:30 for me, though sometimes later. I mean, living must happen. I mean, seriously. Therefore, my realization became that I can execute genuinely focused work during 2, but not 3 of those windows consistently. I additionally noticed that exercising early in the first window, like between 6 a.m. and before 9 a.m., provides more energy throughout the entire day. However, if I exercise starting at 9 quais or starting at 10, approximately halfway through that window, the second opportunity window diminishes. I experience fatigue. Perhaps it relates to eating times, but that wasn't altering when I eat or what I consume. Therefore, I'm highly conscious that I obtain approximately 2 opportunities from these 3 windows. Therefore, I believe people could benefit tremendously, not necessarily by adopting the schedule I follow, but by monitoring their natural cognitive and physical patterns. You don't require 4 a.m. awakening, but you require daily time blocking and understanding your most productive intervals. Now, proceeding to the final significant guidance piece. Don't miss this point. Here it is. Pursue becoming an emotionally mature individual. One method for achieving that involves compelling yourself to undertake difficult tasks. Practice discomfort daily. You state the emotionally immature individual seeks motivation for executing something difficult once. The emotionally mature individual employs discipline for executing something difficult repeatedly. Why does emotional maturity connect to motivation and discipline? Because possessing emotional maturity means recognizing that some days won't include quality sleep. Some days involve awakening with your schedule and everything planned, and regardless of daily outcomes, the emotionally mature individual will still execute necessary actions to accumulate victories and concentrate on their purpose. Conversely, the emotionally immature individual will declare, "Well, I didn't sleep adequately. I had nightmares, therefore I'll remain in bed." Or, "It's raining outdoors, it's cold outdoors, I don't feel well." You must maintain your course regardless, and it demands substantial emotional maturity because your emotions govern your actions, like your subsequent behavior. And therefore, if you possess emotional maturity, you're more inclined to embrace discipline when conditions are suboptimal. If you lack emotional maturity, then your feelings determine your next actions, which severely damages outcome-focused individuals. You need comprehension of your brain's mechanisms. Executing difficult tasks develops your brain and your disciplinary capacity. Most people lack this knowledge, but there's a brain structure called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. But what's fascinating about this brain region is there now exists substantial data demonstrating that when people execute tasks they resist, like adding 3 hours of exercise daily or weekly, this brain region enlarges. In numerous ways, scientists are beginning to conceptualize the anterior mid-cingulate cortex not merely as one of willpower's centers, correct? But potentially actually the center of survival will. Now we're engaging. All the data indicate that we can develop this region. But that as rapidly as we develop it, if we don't continuously invest in tasks that are difficult for us that we resist, that's the component that feels so Gauguinesque to me that we resist. Like if you love the ice bath, yeah, I love the ice bath. You progressed from 1 minute to 10 minutes. Guess what? Your anterior mid-cingulate cortex did not enlarge. None. But if you hate the cold water, if you're afraid of drowning and you enter water and submerge your head and survive, then the anterior mid-cingulate cortex enlarges. It's that I don't want to execute something but execute it regardless. That's correct. That develops this region. That's how I've conducted my entire life. I know nothing about that, but people comment, "Man, you have such powerful will." It's something that you develop. And if you didn't have that will to persist, you die. There's some internal drive that you either possess or you don't possess. And if you possess it, you won't surrender. And if you don't possess it, you're going to surrender. Will you continue proceeding? Facing whatever circumstances? I never contemplated surrendering. If they instructed me to re-enter the water again, let's proceed. They instructed me to place that low,